Well, I love that you say that, because one of the questions I was going to ask you, with a mountaineering background and interest in that, how much does that connection to nature connect you naturally to the trails? Like,
Yeah.
now that you're there and you're in that space, do you think that it's almost inevitable you were going to end up here at some stage?
Yeah, looking back, a lot of the mountaineers that I would follow and read their books, like they were all into running and into nature and into rock climbing and stuff like that. So it's just like to be able to move through the mountains and it's like a playground. Like
For sure.
when I was living in NZ, like I was spending so much time in the mountains, just running up there and snowboarding and stuff. And it's just like I don't know, the mountains are just like they just draw you. They just draw you in. Like it's the best fucking thing. And like the trails are the closest thing we can get to those mountains. Like I just come back from a down the coast hiking yesterday and the day before that, and just yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just like to sit there and have like a view and just to be able to take all that in and just like you just feel like you're a part of like the earth, like because we are just animals at the end of the day. So
100%.
yeah, and running on trails, like a bit of exercise, you get the endorphins from like the exercise, and like you're out in nature in the green, like they call it the green doctor for a reason. So
Yeah.
the blue doctor the ocean, green doctor the forest, and then the orange doctor the sunrise. It's like if you get all three of those things in one day, like you're laughing.
It's funny because I watched your story a couple of days ago now, just before you went camping. And you put something up on your story and you said if anyone's keen to come out and camp
Yeah.
for 2 days, this is what your view will look like. And you
Yeah.
posted, was that a photo you'd taken?
Yeah.
Bro, that was magic.
Yeah, that place is insane. The Butterwings down like west of Ulladulla, and I love taking people there for the first time because, like, even I forget how amazing it is when I get out there. And when you see that for the first time, it's just like, then I see people's faces. It's just like the best feeling. Like,
So how did you get into this? Because it seems to me that like camping, and especially camping, like rough camping like that, that's kind of something that most is passed down to most people. Like they go with their old
Yeah.
man or their family, and something you've learned as you've gone time and time again every year in your school holidays, and
Yeah.
eventually get to the age where you start to do it yourself and with your mates.
Yeah,
Or
I
have you
don't-
just picked this up?
Yeah, I've just picked it up. Like even running and stuff. Like my mum's a runner now, but before that, like they were never into that stuff or never take me hiking. Like we used to always have a caravan down the coast we'd go to, and like Dad had a boat, and like we've lived on a boat for like a month and stuff, our own boat, and like the
Yep.
Sundays and stuff like that. But never anything like hiking like that. I remember I discovered the Butterwings. I was at TAFE one day in the library. It's like this old rundown TAFE, and then there was this
I'm writing
massive,
these down, by the way.
there's this massive, yeah, I'll give you all the info.
Yeah, give it to me after.
There was this massive poster on like this old like poster on the walls, like crinkled on the edges and stuff, and it said the Butterwings. I'm like, where the fuck is that? So I looked it up and I'm like, holy shit, this is down the coast. And then me and my mates, like I somehow conned my mates into going down there like a couple of weeks later, and it was just like the best thing. They had the craziest weekend. Everyone was like, we just like slept in this massive cave, or not massive cave. It was like slept in this little cave at the top of this cliff and had a fire. Just like they had the best weekend, had the best views. But yeah, I don't know. I just like got into it. I don't even know how. I've always been obsessed with Mount Everest, but like I don't know if it was the challenge or like, but ever since I was a kid, I've just always been obsessed with Mount Everest, and like I think I'm just constantly chasing like that feeling of like mountains and nature and stuff like that. But I think it's all stemmed from probably watching the Everest movie when I was a kid and like reading, like always would ask Mum for like Mount Everest like books and stuff when I was for Christmas and shit like that. I don't even know why. I've just been obsessed with it.
Do you think, like for you now, you've gone down this rabbit hole of running, which, whilst it's not far from mountaineering in many senses of being out in nature and being physical, it's still a very different pursuit at the peaks of, no pun intended, at the peaks of
Yeah.
what you're trying to achieve. To go and achieve something like Everest, is that still on the bucket list?
Oh, 100%. That's like my always been like my North Star. Like to climb Mount Everest without oxygen is like one of the hardest things you can practically do, especially like Mount Everest isn't like a super technical or hard mountain really, but it's so big and there's so much volume of the mountain. But when you tie that with not doing it with oxygen, like it's just like a whole nother beast. Like more people been to space, more people have won Golden Globes than they have been to the top of Mount Everest without oxygen. Like that's how hard it is, and it's just like you have to be insanely fit and insanely mentally fit to be able to do something like that. Like some of these stories I hear of these dudes back in the 80s with no none of this new equipment and shit, and just climbing on like pure grit and just like being a second away from death every single second of like the some people take like 48 hours to climb it from camp 4. Like it's just ridiculous. They're up there overnight, like literally on death's door, because there's like, it's like they reckon it's like sprinting with a pillow over your face, like just breathing up there and walking. Like that's how fucking hard it is.
Yeah,
so that's always been my North Star, and that's something I'll 100% do. Like I might not be till I'm 40 or whatever, but like I just know I'll climb Mount Everest like at some point.
Because with Everest, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to go over, obviously get comfortable at base camp, get used to the altitude, but then it can be like a process of waiting for the right conditions.
Yeah, and you have to acclimatise and stuff like that as well. So there's 4 camps on the way up. So there's base camp, and you go up to camp 1, camp 2, and then camp 3. But most people skip camp 2 usually. And then you go up to camp 4, which is like at the start of the death zone. Okay. And it's just like, you got to like go up to like maybe camp 2 for 2 nights, then you come back down to base camp, rest, and then you just let your body acclimatise to the altitude. Okay. So yeah, it's a really long process. There's ways now that they do it where they'll just climb like little easier peaks, like at 6,000 meters, because Everest is at over 8,848 meters. So you got to like acclimatise like up and down the mountain and do all those different things, and it's a long game. It's like some of them take like 3 months to climb it from start to finish. Like like not 3, like it obviously doesn't take 3 months to get base camp to the top, but you just got to do all these things to prepare yourself, and got to stock all the camps and pick a good day, because it's getting really crowded now. You got to like pick a really good day to go, or you're gonna like get stuck behind all these lines and shit, because it's pretty narrow up the top. Like it's only a one-way path that you can't like really cross, or you'll fall like literally 3 kilometers down the Kangshung face next to you, or you fall into bloody China that side. Like it's like it's like the ultimate like test, I reckon, of like endurance and mental strength. So I'm hoping by doing all these things, it's just gonna lead me up to that. And like I've got some pretty big goals I want to do running, but like that's like the big one. And I have a running goal that's tied in with Everest as well that I want to do one day. But Everest with no oxygen is like my North Star.